international exposure for students in Tier 2 and Tier 3 regions. And now we have Ms. Jonah Powell, Principal, Wales International School, Abu Dhabi, UAE. Ms. Powell leads a diverse international school in the UAE and is known for her commitment to fostering intercultural understanding and inclusion through education. We have Dr. Rupali Dhamdhere, Principal, Trinity International School, Pune, a global education advocate. Dr. Dhamdhere has embedded internationalism deeply into her school's vision, blending Indian values with global practices. And now we have Mr. Amol Vadya, who has been supporting EduTV even before inception. Mr. Vadya is the Deputy COO Global School Foundations, Singapore and Dubai. With extensive experience across Asia and the Middle East, Mr. Vadya has overseen some of the region's most successful student exchange programs and academic partnership. And now we have a principal from the Millennium City, Gurugram, Mrs. Aparna Sibalu, Principal, KR Mangalam World School, Gurugram, a passionate promoter of international engagement. Mrs. Sibalu has worked consistently to provide meaningful global experiences for students and educators alike. Thank you, respected panelists, and let's now move into the core of our discussion with few questions from you. I'll start from Hooghly, India. My first question to Mr. Gautam Sarkar is, Sir, how can schools in 3 and 2 tier cities like Hooghly leverage international exchange programs to give their students a competitive edge and global exposure? Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to all of you. And thank you, Pranav, for giving us the opportunity to discuss among so esteemed people. But with no further delay, I will just come straight to your answer. See, we being in Tier 2 or Tier 3 cities, we need to have our partners and those organizations should come up with our schools, those who can help us, collaborate with us to specialize in international and student exchange program, those who are specialized in international student exchange program. We also need the language skills. For that, in Tier 2 and Tier 3 schools nowadays, we also have third and fourth language. Like we always try to teach them French, Spanish, something like that, where that will give them the exposure towards that literature, so that they can understand and get the urge of going to those places. And basically, we can say through our programs, we give them the cultural sensitivity training. We prepare our students for cultural differences and to be a better accepting individual is so very important. So we suppose there are certain rituals we don't understand from far away. But when we go there, we interact, we spend time, whether it is physically or virtually, then we start understanding. So we try to have a lot of virtual exchange. Like we try to get in touch with the organization, those who can help. Secondly, we give them the exposure to different languages. Number 3, we try to enhance the cultural sensitivity among them. And number 4, the exchange programs, the virtual exchange. But before doing these things to our students, we should not forget that our teachers are also from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. While giving facility to the students, sometimes we totally forget about them. So in our case, we always try to give them training. Teachers' training is very important. Teachers' exposure meet is very important. I hardly found any. In CBSE or any other boards, you will find maximum they will give principal exposure program, student exchange program. It's very few time, very less we hear that. Very rare occasion we hear that they're having teacher exchange. I know there are issues like different boards, different curriculum, but again, they also need the equal exposure. Because I want that when teachers from tier 2 and tier 3 teachers, when they teach in the class, they must give references of cross the border, not only within the country or of the state. When they talk, when they give references, they must give reference of different cultures, different countries. Through education, we want to make our students and our teachers a global citizen. The global citizen means you must have the acceptance or the tolerance. I think nowadays it is very much relevant with this present world condition to have tolerance and acceptance. Certain deeds we don't understand unless or until we interact with them. In few cultures, the way of expressing happiness is different from us. We need to know each other, then only we'll value each other, and then only we will start accepting each other, and that will give a healthy world, that will create healthy world citizens. It is not about employability. It is not about only education. It is about a futuristic world citizen. So what we are doing, we are talking to them, inspiring them, and what I dream that I can take my teachers to that platform or to that place where they will get this global exposure, and they will come back to the classes and their classes, and then over there, they will talk about these references. So in tier 2 and tier 3, we are taking up schools. Whenever I go to any school, like I said, I talk to them in this way that not only the student, but teachers are equally important to get upgraded. Promotion from class 1 to class 2 is important. Similarly, upgradation of a teacher year to year is very important. And that comes when they go to certain places, they exchange their culture, they exchange their food, they talk about their preparation of their food, their culture, their dances, their music, the art form, everything they need to exchange. Then only they can. Over to you, Praveen.
I really liked your advice and idea. It is an elevation of the teachers also, growth for them also, exposure for them also. Thank you so much, Mr. Sarkar. We're always coming up with innovative advisors for us and all other educators. Now, my next question, before I come to Mr. Amol Vadya, I'll go to Ms. Jonah Powell. Ma'am, in a culturally diverse setting like Abu Dhabi, how do international exchange programs enhance student understanding of global issues and in intercultural sensitivity?
What I would say is we're very, very fortunate, obviously, in Abu Dhabi, because not only our students, but our teachers are also very multicultural. So we have teachers from all around the world, we can have students from all around the world. But the international exchange programs can still play a vital role in enhancing students' understanding, just like you were saying previously, of global issues, cultural sensitivity, because the programs go beyond traditional classroom learning and they offer students direct exposure to different cultures. And what I would say is within the classroom, yes, they may have friends from all around the world, but they don't really have a lot of opportunities to discuss that. You know, they're going through the curriculum. So by interacting with their peers from around the world, they can appreciate the complexity and interconnectedness of the world and global challenges. But it isn't the same as actually experiencing it firsthand. I would say Abu Dhabi's multicultural makeup's a unique foundation in the globe. The UAE is in a unique position. So the students are already part of this rich, diverse population, but international exchanges build on that it builds their confidence, putting them in unfamiliar environments, challenging assumptions, exactly what you were saying previously about tolerance. And the experiences don't just support the academic growth, but something that's very important to me is contributing to the development of confidence and resilience, emotional intelligence and adaptability. Something that I would say is a little bit of a caveat to that. It's crucial, particularly in this country, that the programmes are designed and implemented with cultural awareness and respect, because in the UAE, particularly here in Abu Dhabi, schools have to remain mindful of the national context that we're operating in. So with our Emirati students, they form an integral part of our school community, and any exchange programme that they do needs to be really carefully aligned with local norms. You know, we can't have any cultural differences that would mean a problem with programme content or would go against the respective UAE traditions and laws and religious principles. So again, that's something that we need to think of very carefully. But if it's done thoughtfully, then exchange programmes have got a wonderful balance. They can open students' eyes to the wider world, reinforce the importance of honouring the UAE or honouring their own country, while looking at the identity and cultural identities of other students, thinking of them as global citizens, exactly as you were saying, and learning how to engage across cultures with integrity and a deep sense of responsibility. And in today's world, I think it's becoming more and more important that we understand each other and that we break down the barriers.
Excellent, ma'am. Awesome. In fact, I had an impression in place like UAE and other where the diverse cultures are there, multinational culture is there, and they already have the interest exposure. I think you gave very good points, developing confidence, geography, and others. Thank you so much, Ms. Jonah. And with that, I will go to Mr. Amol Vaidya now. And sir, as you run so many schools across Asia and beyond also, what are some of the most successful student exchange initiatives you have seen across your campuses, and how do they contribute in shaping a truly global learner?
Thanks, Pranav, for asking me to join this panel. See, we operate in 11 countries and we have about 64 campuses now. And we operate all the curricula, major curricula in the world. British curriculum, American curriculum, IB, and of course the Indian curricula, both ICSE and CBSE. What we do is leverage our network and leverage the technology. And we have kept it very simple, like for example, each section has a buddy section in some other location. Each school has a buddy school in some other location. That is where we start. And what we realize that exchange has to not only happen physically, but also virtually. That is where we leverage the technology that we have access to now. So right from pre-KG, kindergarten, children at that age really enjoy talking to, say, somebody in Tokyo or somebody in South Korea or some child or a group of children in Singapore. That's what we leverage. And they are all within our network. So I don't have to, unfortunately, like others, go to outside the school groups and try and have some network opportunity. So we do it as a strategy. Each section in a school has a buddy section. Each campus has a buddy campus. Then similarly, each subject teacher has a buddy teacher within the network. Then the group of teachers, say for English department or Physics department, also network within the system through our own ERP. So there are a lot of networking and cross-cultural, curricular learning opportunity. And that is what reflects in what we deliver in each of our schools. So the program, say in kindergarten or primary, even if it is a CBSE school or a British school, does not necessarily draw only from that curriculum. It will draw the best practices from IB or American curriculum or STEM learning or project-based learning and those kind of things, and then they deliver. So it's part of our overall working system and the culture. And we have been working on it for 2 decades now. As our network has grown, the interaction at the child level, at the teacher level, at the campus level, and also at the leadership level has been properly, integrated in our working system. And it has given us dividend because currently across our network, we have about 85 different nationalities that we hold. And unless the sensitivity and sensibility around the culture, and especially as ma'am suggested, in UAE is a melting pot of nationalities. All my campuses hold about 65 different nationalities in our network in UAE and Saudi. So if people are not sensitized on simple things like, with whom to shake hands and with whom not to shake hands. It took me several years to do like this when talking to Emirati and Arab teachers in the network. So there are small nuances, which we have learned and then passed on, because suddenly last year in our network school in Seoul, Korea, about 100 Saudi parents were admitted. Saudi had a sudden transfer of embassy staff in Seoul, Korea, and they demanded a school extra seats for their children in our campus in Seoul. So we had to train those teachers on how to talk to Saudi parents. That is where we use the network advantage. I hope I have, continuously every month as part of timetable, there are programs where students from UAE and Saudi are regularly interacting with students from other regions. Teachers are regularly interacting on a weekly basis with teachers from other regions. So we go into digital mode, the electronic mode. Also, once a year, the teachers travel to different countries on a physical exchange. Students also travel when the opportunity arises. But you have to understand that, we operate a range of schools from $1,500 to $30,000. And if the school is large, say 3,000 students, not every parent will have financial strain to send a child to, say, Tokyo or Singapore, or bring the child from India to Dubai. It's not possible. That is where, the electronic communication, contact, the exchange. So I think we are trying to balance it out so that each child in the network gets some connection, gets some benefit of working in a network, and gets to know people outside his or her that area of influence. It generally is limited to the family or the school. That's how we work.
Wow, sir. I think I could understand as you're doing a wonderful thing, elevating the students, teachers, leadership, and the campuses also. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And I would like to welcome Ms. Aparna C. Balu, Principal K.R. Mangalam World School, Gurugram. She had been heading the top schools out there in NCR, like Delhi Public Schools, Cambridge School, Srinivas Puri. And we also welcome Dr. Rupali Dhamdhere. She's the principal of Trinity International School of Pune. Rupali, ma'am. And
yes,
now,
sir.
Yeah, welcome, ma'am.
Glad to be there, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks for honoring our request. My next question goes to Mrs. Aparna Sibalu. Ma'am,
Yes.
how are your students and faculty benefiting from international collaborations and student exchange programs in a rapidly growing education hub like Gurugram?
I think the greatest advantage for students is to be able to understand the cultural diversity, the various practices that are different across countries, not just India. Of course, in different parts of India, things are different, but when they connect with children from other parts of the world, they're able to understand the realities, but also respect and acknowledge the fact that, customs and traditions need to be valued. You can't just be different and not respect somebody else's. I think that respect and that tolerance that children pick up, the value for other human beings and their lifestyles, their cultures, their habits. I think that is the first thing children pick up. Then, of course, a closer look at, how do other people in other parts of the world coexist peacefully? The habit of being able to exist with each other. It's so important because increasingly we find that in schools, tolerance comes down. I, me, and myself becomes more sort of center stage. So our aim in school is to encourage children to understand that you have to be able to coexist with so many others on this planet, for which you need to be able to respect those diversities, to be more resilient about change that happens, because change is happening so rapidly. So how are other cultures also responding to change? The need to also preserve your own culture and take pride in your own cultural heritage, because when they go to other countries and they interact with other children, they're able to even present their own, their own cultural heritage. That too, for us, is significant. For faculty, what I find they've learned is to pick up, good practices. When they're observing other schools or other institutions, they get an opportunity and a window into how other systems work, which is really good. You're able to pick up what you can bring into your own system and implement, and acknowledge the fact that there is another way of doing something. So for children and teachers, I feel it's a wonderful idea, exchanging, whether physically or virtually. Both allow the participants an opportunity to gain a window and a perspective on other ways of doing things.
I think ma'am's picture has got frozen. No issues. We will resume from where she left. Now I'll request Dr. Rupali Dhamdhere, Principal, Trinity International School, Pune. Ma'am, what role do you see cultural immersion playing in students' exchange programs, and how does your school prepare students to become ambassadors of Indian values abroad?
Thank you so much for the opportunity, sir, and always glad to be on this esteemed platform. Cultural, of course, when we talk about India, India and culture are not apart at all. And when we train our children or we educate them, as in when they take part and also follow every other cultural activity and every other festival that happens. And when we are talking about the exchange, when we have the other students coming into us, definitely our children are stronger when they are exchanging these values. They know how and what is the importance of each thing. And today, though we say that these children are connected, on the wire, but still they are very, very closely connected and throughout the world, and they actually exchange a lot of culture through their even if we see them making reels or anything. Also, there is a lot of culture that seeps in from all around when they are connected so well through their mobiles. So it is not just that because today we say that the children are cannot stay without social media. But I would say social media plays a big role when it comes to children exchanging their views and things on a bigger platform with the other children also. So there is also definitely a positivity to what they are doing. And the inputs that we give our children today, definitely they are taking them ahead and carrying them out. So when my children would go out for any exchange program, they would definitely carry something unique with them every time that they would go. They would have stories of the base on which their culture depends and would want to exchange. There is always a scientific base, and if they know that, they will definitely agree to why you're doing a certain thing and why you're following. The moment we say it is just followed because we've been doing it for years, that is the point they will lose interest. So the moment we give them this, and this is all worldwide, if we give them a reason why it is being done, definitely they do follow, and it passes on from one generation to the other. These children, when they go out or the other children come back to us, the experience that they have when they're sharing things definitely adds on to the values that they will carry throughout their lives, not just for that much time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. As you said, a very good thing, ma'am. Like Indian culture there, I think two sides of the single coin only, and we in India only we have got a very diverse culture. And now I would like to move to my question will be from Jonah. Jonah, you and Amol, both of you are working in a different country, in a very diverse culture. You came from Europe, Amol came from India to UAE and Singapore. So my question to Jonah ma'am is, ma'am, can you share a moment of a story from a past exchange program that made you feel these initiatives are truly transformative for students?
I'm actually going to share a personal story, if that's okay with you, about when I was a student. So this is going back into ancient history. I grew up in Europe, and the cultural exchange had a really defining experience in my life. And it's the reason why I'm such a staunch advocate for exchange programs. Because when I was at school, I grew up in a very small village, and we had exchange programs in the 1980s that went to France and to Germany. And suddenly what we would do is we would go to visit a family, we would stay in their home, and then the member of their family from France or from Germany would come and stay in our home. So we were just completely immersed in the language, staying with a family, learning about their culture, and discovering what daily life was like in a totally different country and through a different lens. I'm not saying it was easy. I was quite shy when I was younger, and it was quite difficult to suddenly have to go and stay with another family. But what I would say is you have a connection, and you begin to understand the richness that comes from stepping outside of your comfort zone. And that experience for me sparked a lifelong love of language and culture. And I credit it with being able to work internationally. I actually moved to France and lived there for 15 years before I moved to the UAE. I don't think I would have had the courage to have done that if it wasn't for exchange programs. I would still be living in the tiny village that I grew up in. So what was a small visit for me when I was 14 years old has led to a career living and working and building a life outside of my home country. So since then, every school that I've worked in, I've encouraged students to go on exchange programs because I've seen firsthand how powerful it is for you in your career and for your life. And I've watched nervous teenagers get onto a plane and be quite scared to go, but then they come back confident communicators who tell everybody what a wonderful time they had. They feared a difference, and then it sparked their curiosity, and they've got a respect for the world beyond their own borders. So they don't just create better learners, it creates more thoughtful, empathetic and self-aware human beings. And looking back, I can confidently say that exchange programs totally changed the course of my life. They open the door to so many things, and it gives you a deep appreciation for the beauty of difference. And I will continue forever to champion it in every single school that I work in, because I've lived through the transformation that it inspired.
Wow, ma'am, that is the first-hand experience. She did a school exchange program in 1980s, when I think at least I have not heard of it that time. And I'm sure Gautam must have not been born also by that time. So, and ma'am, definitely, I think, ma'am, there is a standing invitation for you and your students to Indian schools. Am I right, Gautam, sir? Then Rupali ma'am and Aparna ma'am. And we would like to host you, ma'am. And I think...
Oh, thank you.
Yes, yes,
Definitely.
definitely.
Same here.
Great.
Fabulous.
So now, my next question goes to Mr. Gautam Sarkar. His advocacy for students' international exposure is tremendous. Sir, what support do Indian schools need from private players or international partners to scale up these exchange opportunities more effectively in India?
See, once again, thank you. But when we talk about private or international partners, you also need to mention about the government support. Because this international exchange program starts with the basic help from the government first. So, see, for Tier 2 and Tier 3 level schools, we need funding and scholarship. Like there must be certain government-funded scholarships. It can be Fulbright Nehru Fellowship or something like that, where government can come up with some scholarship. That is very important. And scholarship is not always because of money. the significance of scholarship is actually the encouragement. When you have a scholarship, when you get the scholarship from the government, you get encouraged to do that. It is not always about the money. Tier 2 and Tier 3 doesn't mean that all of them are financially backward or they can't pay.
Right.
But this scholarship always give them the, you can say,
Encourages.
encourage them to be a part of this program. That is number one. Secondly, the policy framework from the government. Government can establish some easier policies for school students. See, when we talk about exchange program, university exchange program is for adults, where more checkings are required because of the global position, global scenario. But when we talk about school children exchange program, the policies or the administrative support should be there from the government. A child of class 6 or class 8 or class 10 is going to another country. We know certain things we don't need to check, which is applicable for a full grown-up adult because of the global scenario. So we need some diplomatic relationship should be there with the countries where we want to exchange. Because sometimes it may happen that we need local embassies' help. And that is only possible when government will come up with that kind of policies that yes, they will encourage for the exchange. So basically from government, we need funding and scholarship, policy framework, diplomatic relation with other countries, and administrative support from the government side. Now, if you ask me for private sector support, from private sector, we need the infrastructure and resources. Like for Amol sir, it is very easy to give us the support, infrastructural support, because they're already having 64 campuses. Same thing, we can help to other schools because we have 71 campuses. Campuses means 71 different place and different culture where we know what minimum infrastructure can take our students globally. Now, if you say for international partners, we need more and more cultural exchange program. Even if we can't do a student exchange program for a month or 15 days, at least for a cultural event, we can go or they can come. Instead of making a 10 days or 15 days or 3 months or 4 months program, cross-border, we can make it for 2 days or 3 days program. There's airport, they will come to our place, we will take them, we'll have an international competition where we will, they will display their culture, folk songs, their way of teaching, everything they can do. And then after 2 or 3 days, they can go. See, the more and more international partners we need for cultural exchange. And we can also share the best practices from different schools from different countries. It is no harm in learning. Learning means living. As long as we are alive, we need to learn. And it is all, and life is too short to commit all the mistakes. So what we can do, whatever good practices are there, the other side of the world, we can exchange and we can make our life and education system better. So these are my expectations from government, private, and international. Over to Pranay. Thank you.
I think very good, Mr. Sarkar. Like in fact, instead of 2 months, 1 month, even 15 days program, we can have 2-3 days program also. That is also quite enough for a person to know about the culture of that country. Even a lot of things are learned. Like if I visit to a city or a new country, within 2-3 days also I get a feel of that country very nicely, which becomes a reference for me for the rest of the life. Now, my last question goes to Mr. Vaidya. Sir, what challenges have you encountered in implementing student exchange programs across different countries, and how do you ensure consistency in student experience and learning outcomes?
So, Pranav, the biggest challenge is financial. And also, what we have seen is expat. See, majority of our parents are expats in any country where we operate. Okay, only 20% are locals across our entire network. The rest all are expats. And besides financial challenges, the second most difficult thing to manage is the fear in the mind of the parent about safety of their child. And the way to do that, that we learned over a period of time, of course, is start the engagement digitally quite early. If you are planning to take somebody to say Singapore or Tokyo in the month of February, the preparation and engagement has to start at least 7-8 months prior.
Right.
Where the children sitting in Dubai or Abu Dhabi or Riyadh are chatting and communicating with their project partners in Singapore or Tokyo or Seoul or someplace in India. And when that engagement builds up, all the resistance automatically stops. Dropping out of parents will definitely happen because, as I said, destination wise cost is different. For example, if I have to take a child for 1 week to Singapore from Dubai, the cost is about 8,500 dirhams. Not many parents will afford it because we have a large cohort in Abu Dhabi, say 2,800 children. Not every family is going to spend that kind of money, which in many cases is monthly salary of a parent. Okay, because we run an Indian curriculum school in Abu Dhabi. So there are challenges. For exceptional meritorious cases in each campus, we operate a scheme to finance it. Every year from each campus, we send 5 children at our cost to a destination. In the month of October, 3 teachers and 4 students from my Dubai campus are going to China to participate in the Asia Pacific Quality Organization competition on excellence in governance and management of a school. So we do spend our own money, but we can't be spending money on every single child. But what we realize is that if the engagement is long term, slowly the parent makes up their mind that, okay, if not this year, maybe next year or maybe year after, I must have, create that fund to send my child to a different country to experience how world is and what kind of education I can get. And it's a slow process. It can, and I will never depend on, I'm sorry to say it, but I will never depend on government. What will government do? They can only do so much. And they will do it for their own citizens. Like in UAE, many of the bright students are sponsored by the government to go to other countries. Okay, but for an expat community that we manage, where 90% of students are from different countries, it's not possible to look up to government. I'm talking from my point of view, Mr. Sarkar. I'm not talking from your point of view. So I'm not going to depend on government or anything. I mean, I'm sure what ma'am went to France probably was a Rotary. In India, Rotary Club has a Rotaract exchange program where a similar model works, where families will send their child to some country and that family child will come to India to spend 1 month. Those programs are prevalent and very common in India. But again, Rotary Club will sponsor it. How many children they'll send? Maybe they'll send 4, 5, 6, 10 children from each city. And look at the size of population that we have. So as a school, therefore, you have to find a solution from within. If some corporate or somebody comes from outside and supports you, good. Otherwise, within the system, within the parent community, you have to find a solution. You can make it merit-based for a few children. It's a challenge. There are no shortcuts and there are no fixed templates that you copy from one campus to another. After trying for 8 years in my Dubai campus, now in October, 24 children are going to Singapore in 1 year. It took me 8 years to send my first lot of 3 children. That was 2 years ago. Now this year, 24 children. It's a process. And once children come back with their experiences, the word spreads more and more. So there are no shortcuts, there are no simple templates to follow. Each location, each group will have to find their own solution. If this is at the central thought process of the school leadership and governing board of the school. We in Global School believe, as our name suggests, Global Schools Group, it is central to our operations, giving the global experience for the children. We have found different ways of it. I am willing to go into personal chat with people to exchange our learning. It's not something, proprietary that only we'll do it and others should not do it. I'm open to those ideas as he has suggested. And we do host a lot of teacher delegations here. Every year we get from Central Asian countries, we get a lot of delegates. From African countries, we host a lot of delegates. And if you are suggesting to do something in Abu Dhabi, madam, feel free to use our facilities in Abu Dhabi. We'll be very happy to host large delegation. I hope I have answered your question appropriately.
No, very nicely said, sir. I like that advice very much. Gautam sir will definitely ask you to expedite the things. Like it should be fixed up at least 7-8 months before. So a lot of homework, the homework can be done by the student also to know about that country, culture, everything. Make friends also maybe in that school or maybe on social media, know more and more about it. It really helps.
They must do activities together. Start digitally, start online, let them do some projects, debates
Yes.
or discussions
Yes.
together. That culminates.
Wonderful.
Into this.
Yeah, a lot of projects can be done online before also. Thank you, taken, sir. Now I will request the lady in the panel for her final comments and we conclude the show. Over to Jonah.
Thank you so much to everybody. There's lots of great ideas that have actually come out of today. So hopefully we'll all be able to get together. Thank you for inviting all of us. Very, very grateful. Hopefully this is the start of something very special to happen in the future.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.